sick. And all this stuff is satisfying. What amazes me is how little I eat now. How little I eat. When these strawberries come on, I'll have several handfuls and I go the entire day with no food and feel totally full of energy. And my brain's freaking out. Where's your calcium? Where's your protein? All you had was that fruit. And I'm realizing this stuff is so full of life and minerals, it satisfies all my needs. Can I tell you one of the biggest lies you ever got in school was the 4 basic food groups? The very first book in the Bible, the first chapter says this, and it prefaces it by this, and God said. He said the whole thing. It's all given by inspiration of God. When he prefaces God, this is important, and it says in verse 29, and God said, vegetables and fruits and their seeds is what I've given for you for food. God says there's 2 food groups. Are you tracking with me? And they lied to us and told us 4. I told you about kale having more protein than that stupid meat. And they tell you can only get meat, only get protein from meat. And the lie about calcium from dairy products. I use the example of a horse. Have any of you looked at the horse's body?
Yeah, he's massive.
He's a massive, powerful beast. Same anatomy as you have. Same bone structure, huge muscles, huge bones, can way outrun and way outwork you, and he maintains that whole structure on nothing but grass and water, vegetables and water. You know what was so cool about God? Is that he knew we'd be lied to in school. So he wrote the first chapter of Daniel, intentionally for us. You ever read that chapter?
Yeah.
It's significant. Here you got these 4 teenagers, because Daniel's the prime minister 70 years later. They're teenagers. They're coming in as prisoners of war from Israel to Babylon. But these 4 young men were paying attention to the owner's manual. And the people around them were observing, man, these guys are sharp. They're really totally with it. Let's bring them to the government and use them because they've really got good heads. So when they get there, I love Daniel's statement. He says, I will not defile myself with this corrupted, processed food. So he goes to the guy feed and says, listen, buddy, this stuff's not good for us. Would you give us vegetables and water? So this guy who'd been in school says, on Daniel, if you don't get the basic 4 food groups, you won't look good, it'll take my head off. Daniel says, listen, let's just get real. Give us a 10-day test, 10 days. We're not going to die in 10 days. And then you examine us and connect the dots. I love the result of the test. You ever read it? It says they were brighter, they were smarter, and the King James says they were fatter. It didn't mean they were obese, they had more muscle mass. They were more buff on grass, on vegetables and water than these jerks eating all this processed food. And they gave them that the rest of the time there. I'm just telling you, that was not put there accidentally. God put that there for us who were educated with these lies about the 4 basic food groups. Wake up. We've got to get it. Everything we need is in that book. This is an owner's manual. And there's nothing you'll encounter there's not an answer there for. It's all there. Let me give you a simple example. You know the importance of fermented foods in your diet? Fermented foods are huge for your bacterial flora in your stomach. You know the Bible addresses that? Let me tell you where. Paul is writing to Timothy, his son of the faith. He says, Timothy, drink a little wine for your stomach's sake and your often infirmities. Timothy, you're sick all the time because you have poor digestion and you're not getting the nutrition from your food. If you drink a little wine, which will bring the bacteria flora, the fermented bacteria flora, you're going to get nutrition in your food and you'll get well. I'm telling you, it's all there. Everything we need is in that owner's manual. Everything.
Potatoes he stores.
You gotta get it.
The apples he stores.
We should be eating that fermented. So this has
Sauerkraut, all that stuff is major good for you. You know, it's really powerful stuff, you know. And we need to you know, and you know, yogurt, kefir, all those bacteria. I mean, there's milk, and see, everything you're eating today. I just saw this article in Heirloom Garden. It was so sad. Now they're finding Roundup, the chemical Roundup is in mother's milk. It's in mother's milk. This funky thing is in everybody's food. It's now everywhere. Now it's coming out in mother's milk. Poor babies, born in total innocence, are being corrupted with Roundup. I'm telling you, man, we are in a sick state, and we've got to come back to God as our growing our food and get out of this food system because it's totally corrupting everything. It's scary.
So do you still do the kefir and the yogurt and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we love it. We make our own, you know, and it's all good.
My parents used to make their own yogurt. I've never done that, but my
It's very simple, you know, and all that stuff is really good for us. Now, I don't eat dairy products other than that because nothing in nature does after infancy. Dairy products are not good for us. We don't have the lactose.
What's that?
Dairy products were never designed for human use, any use after infancy. Nothing
Dairy
in nature,
products?
nothing in nature drinks milk
it's going down.
after infancy,
Right.
except the pig.
I got it.
That's right.
Well,
the pig.
Pig will eat anything. They're saying, you know,
happens to
God
pigs?
said don't
They
eat
get
them
fat.
because they're not good for you.
But
My,
I would say I heard one of the problems too is because we pasteurize dairy, it kills the natural bacteria.
even the
that
raw
help
milk, you see the lactose
Come on, dude.
in it, your body does not have the ingredients to digest lactose. It's made for a cow.
I don't want to
It was not designed for it. And so you never digest it. If you notice when you drink milk
You're doing
or
good.
dairy
You're
products,
doing
you
good.
always get mucus.
Just a little bit.
My neighbor across the street is a Seventh-day Adventist medical doctor, and I love him. He'll tell you up front, allopathic medicine was never designed to bring healing. Its only purpose is to manage disease because that is how you make money.
Right.
If you got people well, you could make no money. Allopathic medicine manages disease. So women come to him with their babies that are sick, have asthma, and he says, get them off of wheat and dairy right now. So they're leaving his office and he says, well, you're not going to give us a prescription?
Wheat.
I just gave you one. And they're saying, that's a prescription? Just do it. They come back and say, I can't believe it. My kid doesn't have asthma anymore. They get totally well.
Wheat and dairy.
Wheat and dairy. See, wheat today is no longer wheat. It's genetically modified. Remember our anthem? You don't have it. Our anthem says this. Amber waves of grain.
Yeah.
Wheat in the original day was 4 and 5 feet tall. Today it's a foot.
Genetically modified.
It's modified to it's a foot tall for easy harvesting, and it's
Yeah.
not wheat. If you go to Europe and eat bread,
Yeah.
it tastes good.
Yeah.
It's not what we have here.
It's not what we have here. We have
So the
genetically
wheat we're
modified
eating
wheat.
today is full of gluten. Gluten didn't happen when I was a kid. When
Yeah.
you were a kid. This is all new.
Yeah, in the
Serious
last 6
consequences
months or so, we've been
of
trying to
genetically
go
modifying and
gluten-free.
corrupting God's natural order.
Yeah, that's
It's huge.
unhealthy.
So we got to wake up and get it. When people change something, it's only negative ingredient. Do not eat anything that science has destroyed.
Changed.
It's
Yeah.
changed because you totally have corrupted and completely destroyed what God
That's
made.
right. Yeah, it has
So if
been
you want good
genetically
wheat, go to Europe and
modified.
get it. And I'm telling you, that's real wheat there. It's the original stuff. The stuff here is not wheat. Same with corn. I'm telling you, man, it's so sad. Corn's no longer corn. It's genetically modified. Soybeans, it's all corrupted, you know?
I don't touch anything with soy in it whatsoever. That stuff was poison to men.
It was.
Absolutely
It
poison.
takes your hair out. I'm telling you, it's a natural estrogen.
It's a natural estrogen.
just-
If you like growing boobs and stuff
I'm
like
just
that,
telling
then
you, man,
soy
it's
is just fine.
It was never designed for human consumption.
No.
And here's the word. My people perish. Listen to me. The scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. We've got to get it.
You mentioned fermentation. I had read, basically, and there was an herbalist had mentioned fermented soy is the only soy women should be doing.
Yeah.
And men should never eat
The
any of it.
tofu.
Yeah.
But
Maybe should or should not.
Women
should-
can have fermented
tofu,
soy,
but nothing
that's
else.
it.
But man should never eat it. It's a natural estrogen. It's make,
Yeah, I stay away from that stuff, that's for
it's
sure.
toxic,
Touch
and it's
anything
just
like
not safe to eat. And I'm just telling you that, you know, from my experience, you know, and you know what God showed us, I think I shared this earlier, is that I've had people call me, you know, because it's like walking with me to have all these solutions. This one guy calls me from Florida, says, oh, if you ate all fruit, all grapes, you'd get well. I says, come on, man, I eat awesome food, you know, I have plenty of fruit, you know. And so I talked to God about it. You know what he told me was so cool? He says, everywhere on the planet, wherever you live, all the food you need is where you are.
That's right there.
And he gave me the example of the Inuit Indians. I showed something earlier, but others, people coming later. The Inuit Indians in northern Alaska have never seen or tasted any piece of fruit for their entire lives.
Yeah, or vegetables for that
Or
matter.
vegetables, because the ground is covered year-round with snow and ice.
They pretty
They
much
eat,
eat
they
like
eat vegetables
fish, don't
from the sea, nori and kelp, and they eat whale, which is
Fish.
mostly fat, and they live incredibly long, healthy lives.
They eat it all raw,
right.
too, and
All
have
raw.
vitamin C in it.
Yeah. So my point is, what God's trying to say is, wherever you live, I've made provision. You don't have to import things. That's unnatural. It's never been done before till the Industrial Revolution where you could, and it's completely unnecessary. So and here's the word, in everything give thanks. In everything give thanks. So when you eat your food, give thanks for it. Thank you, God, for providing this food in season. It's the best. Thank you. And you're good. And don't worry about the rest. And forget the stupid stuff. I'm telling you, the stuff in the store is becoming more and more poisonous every day. Dr. McCall in 2012 said 12 things you should no longer eat. The first on the list were apples. The first on the list were apples. Because they're so corrupted by chemical sprays and fertilizers, they're poisonous. So I had this little boy come here a couple years on a tour. He's 9 years old. He comes to my place. I'm doing this tour. And I'm telling people to eat this food because it's good. And he says, I can't eat apples. I'm allergic to apples. And the Holy Spirit came. I looked at him and says, let me tell you something, young man. You were created in the image of God, fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not allergic to apples. God created apples to give your body major sustenance in life. What you're reacting to is the poison that's in the apples, and your body's trying to protect you from those toxins. While you're here today, you can eat all the apples you want. You won't have any reaction. You don't understand, right? That's why my throat swells up. I get all. I understand. They're toxic. These aren't. So he's watching ththese people eating these apples, my Iconi apples. Oh man, can you believe the flavor of this and smell this and look at the water coming up? And they're going on. So he's hearing all this, and he's thinking, like, can I try it? So he takes one. And I'm watching. Gets 3/4 of the way through, and he starts yelling at the top of his lungs, "I'm not reacting. I'm allergic to apples. I'm not reacting." And he says, "Yay, God." And see, God always does these things for me to get my attention in 2s or 3s. So the next week, this woman comes from her kids and her husband from upper state New York on a tour, and she says, "I'm allergic to apples." I told the little boy. She ate 3, one right after another, totally clear. I love it. God made nothing bad. He didn't make anything bad. It's us, man, separated from God under the influence of the enemy that corrupts the natural world.
So if it grows in your area,
You're good.
so you can put something like, for instance, your grapes. You said they weren't here, but you brought them.
Yeah, you see my grapes here don't produce much because you see this back there. I got all that wood, and it's creating a heat sink and knocks out the wind, and I get loads of grapes. But it's only a short time of year, but it's okay. I'm really thankful for that, and the birds get some too, you know. But my sense is that I'm experiencing how I'm feeling. I feel really good. I never get sick. I eat only what I'm growing in season. I'm thinking like, this works.
Do you can?
No, canning, you lose 95% of the food value. 95% of the food value is lost with canning because you bring it to high temperature and kill all the enzymes, and anything of nutritional value is in the water you pour off. If you're going to store food, the finest way to store food is to dry it. When you dry food, you maintain 95% of the food value in dried food. Drying is a superior way to store
And what, you just rehydrate it when you want
Yeah,
to
just
eat
add
it
water
like
in your
that?
back again. That's good.
Yeah.
See, my kids love, we dry apples. I have tons of apples, but they love apple chips, you know, so I just, and, you know, it's good, but, you know, I don't need to, but they just like it, you know. But for myself, I just have come to the place where I just enjoy eating things fresh. That 10-minute factor really gets my attention. I like to get everything I can in my food, so I just make a point of eating everything fresh in season. I just enjoy it. And my apples are, I have a walk-in cooler in the back, and my apples are so awesome, I eat them all year. Because I have them, and I have a cooler, and my Honeycrisp store the whole year, so I just enjoy it. I'll head off to work, and I'll have 3 apples in my truck, and I'm good all day. I had an experience that really got my attention about the hydration thing. This guy comes to work with me, and he's helping me get the brush, because I can't carry things real well. So he comes to work with 3 bottles of water, plastic bottles from Costco, that plastic water. You know. And so he drinks them all day because he's thirsty. He gets in my truck, run away to the dump, and I give him one of my apples. He says this without me asking. I wasn't probing for this. He finishes his apple. He says, "You know what? I feel more hydrated after eating this apple than drinking those 3 bottles of water." I love it. That came from his mouth. I mean, I didn't ask him. This just came from him. I feel more hydrated from this simple apple than 3 bottles of water. It shows you the power and life that's in fruits and vegetables, water. You see, God made it that way. God never designed us to be packing plastic water bottles around.
Well, it's got a lot of minerals. The apple has minerals.
It has all kinds of things.
All kinds of minerals and electrolytes and, you know, all
and you
kinds
see,
of
it
stuff.
satisfies. It gives you that sense of, like, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Where you're drinking this dead water, and all that water that they're talking about is just processed seaweed. It's totally garbage, you know.
Yeah.
And it's in plastic, which is toxic anyway, so you're really just killing yourself, and you're paying for it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that we're not thinking.
I don't buy bottled water.
I don't buy any water. I have all my water here, and if I don't have it, it's in an apple or choose some greens. You know.
Right.
You don't. I mean, it's just so brain dead how we live. But this is intentional. You know, John Dewey was effective, and they've created us to be controllable. But I'm not going there.